Next up is Steve, but I can't read your handwriting on your last name.
That's okay. You couldn't last time either.
Okay,
It's fine.
good, that's good. You do have a last name though.
It's hard, yes.
Oh, I can't read it. But
I know, that's
Alright.
cool, that's cool. So this, it turns out to be a response,
What is the last name?
Malagodi. Malagodi, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that now.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it means bad attitude.
Huh.
It's a little slow.
My name's Steve too, and I think I better have to change my last name.
So, y'all know who Ann Waldman is? So Ann did this just fabulous reading at Merrimack College for the Kerouac 100th thing. And she read a couple of weeks ago at the Film Archives at Harvard University. Absolutely phenomenal. She has a new book called Trickster Feminism. It should be here. I don't think it is. Great. Fantastic. So I've been thinking a lot about Anne and reading her this book. I've known her work for a long time. Just one thing about Antonin Artaud. I read one of his books called The Theater and Its Double. When I was in my early 20s, it cracked me open. He also was a terrific actor. As I said, he was in some Jean Cocteau films, but his most famous film was Theodore Dreyer's 1929 The Passion of Jeanne d'Arc. You can probably see it on YouTube, or it's a classic. Anyway, Antonin Artaud. But Ann Waldman asked this question, Rick. What myth is structuring my imagination? What myth is structuring my imagination? For instance, the land of the living and the land of the dead. Myth. There are no such lands. What has land, territory, square space got to do with death? What has territory got to do with life either, other than life generally wants it, along with many other things? But the prisoner, the slave, is stripped of all territory, yet continues to live. Oh, you mean land meaning domain? It's the same problem. No realms of living and dead, no layers between heaven and hell. That's a story. It's all Greek. It's a story. There's life, like a skin. When it suffers a pinprick, there's a little point of death, quickly retaken, healed over by life. Maybe there's a scar if the gash was big enough, but usually not. In all of nature, there is never nothing. Only life, like a skin, stretched across a tambour of matter, if you like, beaten and sounding itself. But the death event is so insignificant, you can't hear it at all, not even the slightest of disturbances. So, what myth is structuring my imagination? It's about... So Anne asked the question, I wrote that other thing. What myth is structuring your imagination? What are you occupied by? Whatever you're occupied by, you're possessed with. And this is end the occupation. Everyone lives under occupation, some more obviously than others. Indigenous, Palestinian, Tibetan, and so forth are the most obvious precisely because they resist. But if you live within an occupation zone. Religious, national, corporate. Each of these systems taken together physically occupy, own, and control nearly all of the physical and social, ideological space into which we are born and must live. Simply walking down the street will show you the various logos, flags, and insignia of your occupiers. Territorial boundaries are enforced by strict control of laws, language, and dissemination of images. Control is maintained by force. As Burroughs said, the first step in escaping a life sentence in prison is to realize you're in prison. The next step, the basic activity of all living creatures, is to carve out a space and secure working area, physical and mental, that is unoccupied by another. Cast out your mental occupations. After that, if there's any time remaining, is to enter that much wider area, the one without walls or borders, which the Buddhists would say is full of emptiness, which is completely unoccupied and undivided, even by yourself. Let yourself be decolonized of itself. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you everybody for being here tonight.